Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everybody. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. I'll start with a prayer, a dua in the Quran of Prophet Moses, when he said, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Translated means, oh my Lord, uplift my heart for me and make my task easy and remove the impediment of my tongue so that they may understand me. Assalamu alaikum again to all the brothers and sisters on the call today. Before starting this panel, I have to say that, I'm really humbled to have this opportunity. I am perhaps the person who has the least amount of any work out there with the people in the prison or jail systems. There are people with so much experience here. But I really thank Brother Ejaz and Brother Badr for giving me this opportunity today. Allah, God, Elijah, whatever you call him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he sent prophets and messengers, hundreds of messengers and thousands of prophets to all regions of the earth, from our father Adam to, Ishmael, to Jacob, Joseph, David, Solomon, John the Baptist, Zechariah, and the 5 highest messengers, the final prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, Jesus, peace be upon him, Abraham, Prophet Muhammad, Jesus, Moses, Abraham, and Noah. These are the 5 highest prophets, Ulul Azam, as we call them, the strongest will messengers. These prophets are an example to us. They lived the life amongst the people. They were not rich people. They suffered at the hand of oppressors. They raised the people who were at the bottom of the chain in society, and they showed us how to live our lives. One of the prophets, Prophet Yusuf, peace be upon him, there's a surah in the Quran about him, of how he lived his life in incarceration and how he uplifted the people around him. There are some words in Surah Yusuf of the Quran, the chapter of Joseph, the verse 46, where one person who lived in the jail with him, he calls Yusuf ayyuha siddiq, O Yusuf, O you epitome of truthfulness. That is the model, the life of Prophet Joseph that you and I have to live. Living in that jail, he did not only just change the condition of the people in the jail, but he changed the condition of the people of the country and the people of the world in his time. That is a role model that we look up to. My brother and my Imam Daniel Hernandez, beautifully talked about something. He used the words of the Quran, La taqnatu min rahmatillah. Don't despair in the mercy of Allah. Don't despair in the mercy of Allah. It is said that, our father and our mother, Adam and Eve, they committed a mistake. And Satan also committed a mistake, which is the disobedience of God. But what did our father and our mother do? They immediately said sorry and accepted their mistake. But what did Satan do? He justified his mistake. So he committed the mistake, number 1, he justified it. And number 3, which is the worst mistake of all, he despaired in the mercy of Allah, which our parents did not. God, the most merciful, taught us that day and taught our parents and us by extension, who is our true enemy. Our true enemy are not our brothers and sisters who may be of a different color, who may be of a different religion or a different race or a different nationality. Our true enemy is the one who tried to misguide or misguided our parents and is still trying to misguide us to this day. With those words, I would like to say a verse from the Quran, and this is the principle for which we follow in Salaam Reentry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Cooperate with one another in goodness and righteousness, and do not cooperate in sin and transgression. So we in Salaam, again, thank all of our benefactors, like Ms. Herring, Dr. Don Savell, who will be in this panel, we'll talk about them, and many others that Brother Ejaz knows that we don't even know, who helped us get to this point. With that, I would like to start the panel discussion, and I'd like to talk a little bit about our panelists for today. Do I have the go ahead to do that, Brother Ejaz, Brother? Okay, inshallah. So there's a hadith, a saying of the Prophet, peace be upon him. It's in Sunan Ibn Dawood. It's a Sahih hadith, meaning it's a correct hadith. It says, La yashkurullaha man la yashkurun nas. He who has not thanked the people has not thanked Allah. So we start with thanking our benefactors. With that, I will talk about Miss Jennifer Herring. She is the director of Sheriff's Reentry. Jennifer, are you there? Can you please, if we can just put the spotlight on Jennifer for a second. Hey, Jennifer. We can.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So Miss Jennifer Herring, she is the director of Sheriff's Reentry programs. These are human trafficking and prostitution victims, pregnant and postpartum women, veterans, and substance abuse. Muslim Mentors is one of her reentry programs. Ms. Herring invited Salaam Reentry to start its program in 2014. And I love hearing Brother Ejaz talk about her and your contributions to Salaam. I mean, we would not be here without your help and your support, Ms. Herring.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Don Savell. Don, are you there?
I'm here.
Thank you so much. Dr. Don Savell is the Sheriff's Chaplaincy Manager. Before heading chaplaincy, Don was the Lieutenant Admin Services since 1987. He also has been teaching at University of Phoenix since 2008. Dr. Savell and his chaplaincy team is extremely supporting of the Muslim Mentor Program. He is responsible for creating Islamic Coordinator position in Harris County jails. All matters relating to Muslims are conveyed to the Islamic Coordinator for decision making. So, Dr. Don, you are instrumental. You are the one who has created this chaplaincy position for us. We appreciate your help and support in that. Thank you so much.
Very well.
I'll go next to my brother and my inspiration, Imam Hamid Hardezi. He's on the call. Hamid, are you there? Imam Hamid Hardezi is the male inmates coordinator and has been holding the fort since after our brothers Imam Ali Kamal and Ahmed Gunduz. Are Ali Kamal and Ahmed Gunduz on the phone? Are they in the call? I'd like to thank both of them for their years of service. When they left, it's Brother Hamid who held to the fort. He has been visiting weekly Jummah prayers and individual visits for the last 6 years. His knowledge of the Quran and the Hadith, alhamdulillah, and his heart, the love that he has for the inmates, our brothers and sisters, makes him what Brother Ejaz calls the model sensitive mentor. Imam Hamid also teaches our new volunteers in how to do the job, and I also learned from him. So I appreciate that, Imam Hamid. Thank you so much for being on the call.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next person who is maybe doing the job of 5 people, and she's putting at least me to shame, Sister Nimra Riaz. Sister Nimra Riaz is the female inmates coordinator and female inmates pen pal coordinator. She joined Muslim Mentor Program in 2018. She is the first volunteer to start visiting female inmates in their pods and cells. She has led successful campaigns to raise funds for Dawah materials. She's also the in-house tech team coordinator to oversee this symposium. So we appreciate your help and your support, Sister Nimra. Thank you so much for being on the call.
Thank you.
Finally, I'll move to Brother Amin Ishaker. Brother Amin, are you there? You can just say hi to everybody. Thank you for being on the call. Brother Amin Ishaker is the program manager for Link Outside, a national Muslim-based prison ministries and outreach program. Link Outside has been operating for 10 years, transforming the lives of incarcerated men and women across the United States through education, mentoring, and re-entry support. Amin's role at Link Outside is to manage the many services that are offered and raise awareness of its program within the outside community. What he enjoys the most at Link Outside is seeing how the program is making a positive impact in the lives of so many individuals. Welcome, Brother Amin. Thank you so much for being on the call.
It's great to be here.
So before I start, our questions with these wonderful people, all 5 of them are great people, I would like to take the example and a quote from a great person that I really admire, and I know all of us admire that person, Muhammad Ali. You know, Muhammad Ali, the greatest athlete, the greatest role model in present day America. He was not just a model Muslim and not just a model American, but he was a model human being. Muhammad Ali died. I know in my country, in other countries of the world, people mourn his loss as if a family member had passed away. This is the power of love and care in practice when you are serving humanity? Muhammad Ali says, service to others is the rent we pay for our room here on earth. Service to others is the rent that we pay for our room here on earth. And with that thought, I will start the panel discussions. My first question is for Ms. Jennifer Herring. Jennifer, are you there? Can you hear me, Jennifer?
I can hear you, but my dog just started barking exactly when you said my name. Quiet the entire time, and now he starts barking. Come here. Come here. Okay, I'm here. Thank you.
No problem. No problem. So, Ms. Jennifer, my first question is to you, and we were thinking what we should ask you, and this is the question that came up to my mind and Brother Ijaz's mind. Why do you think that people should join a program like Muslim Mentor Program? Why do you think it is important?
Wonderful question. And I want to thank you all for welcoming me today. I am so blessed to be a part of your family as well as you all are of ours. Mr. Ahmed is one of my favorite people. We met right when I was coming into the sheriff's office. So we've navigated this thing together in trying to find the best ways to serve people who are justice involved. I would say that the people need you. And I think that there's a big stigma placed on people who are behind bars or that we believe have done something bad. We like to shame in our society. We like to cast out in our society. We like to leper people who we believe aren't doing what we think that they should be doing. And I'm going to piggyback on what Mr. Ahmed said. It's not until you meet these people to know that this could be you. This could be your brother. This could be your uncle. This could be your sister. This could be someone close to you who has come upon a time in their lives where something has broken. Yeah. And I believe that we're all broken people, not sent here to judge. That's not my job. That's God's job. Not here to judge, but to serve. And I think that the entire population of those who are justice involved, I would love to see each one of them have a mentor to walk out of that jail with side by side, to help them on this journey until they can walk on their own. When you're broke, you need help. You know, when something has happened in your life, and in my experience as a social worker, I get to engage these individuals in a very personal way. I get to explore a part of their souls where they may not share with a lot of people. And that's based on developing a relationship with them. That's based on rapport and trust, that they're able to allow us a space inside of their soul to help them find what's broken and to begin to fix that place. So we're not talking about quote unquote bad people here. I think we need to work on trying to get rid of that word, but to look at people who may have mental health issues, who may suffer from drug addiction, who may have been prostituted as children and now become grown adults, who may have experienced trauma. We don't know that, I'm going to say the community is not aware, I don't think, of the impact that divorce has on a child. That's trauma for a child. They look at divorce as a death that doesn't die. Well, these people grow up and these children grow up and they become adults. And these adults end up in spaces where they can't navigate those things that we call daily life skills, things that we do every day, to go to work every day and function as a normal, healthy adult. There are a lot of people, even right now during COVID, who are barely making it. It's our responsibility. It's our responsibility as children of God to reach out to others who may need a hand up. It's not an option to me. It's not an option. When Mr. Ahmed said, can we come into the jail? Absolutely. Dr. Savell and I, we want the doors open for all to come into the jail. If you're bringing in light, then we need you, because that jail is a dark place. Not anything to be afraid of. When we say dark, we mean there's a heaviness, there's a spirit that lurks, that lingers there, that we want to get rid of. We want to be a lighthouse at that jail. We want to be a place where people can come and be rehabilitated. That someone has spoke life into them, that has changed their trajectory, that they're no longer on a path toward death, but they're now living and breathing and flourishing, that they found their purpose. And what better place than jail, when you've given time to sit and reflect on who you are? Why should people be mentors? Because they have to. They have to. That's my thought. What are we to do while we're here on this earth? But to give to those who are less than. The Bible speaks of those who are least, those who are lost, those who are left behind. That one sheep that has left the pack, we got to go get that sheep. That's our responsibility. It's not yours. It's not his. It's not theirs. It's mine.
Beautiful, strong words, Ms. Jennifer Herring, and you talked about not judging people. It's a great message, and I hope that all of us can learn that and practice that. Appreciate that. My next question is for Dr. Don Savell. Dr. Don, is there a need for a full-time Islamic coordinator? Is there a precedent for such a position in other religious denominations, and who funds such a position? Could you please shed some light on this?
Absolutely. Good morning and peace and blessing to each and every one of you. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Sheriff Gonzalez, that he's put such a team together. Everybody says that we stand on the shoulders of somebody, and Miss Jennifer, thank you. Thank you, because you certainly carved a way for all of us. And so getting back to that question, when we take a snapshot of our services in the jail, especially when it comes to religious services, and we sit back and we look and we say, does it reflect the community? Does it reflect the religious community? And if we can't answer that with a 100% absolutely yes, then we're missing the mark. And so for each one of us, yes, we're content area experts. We bring our faith and practice into what we do, and we truly want it to be an ecumenical approach to that way we touch everyone, whatever station they are in life and whatever position they are in life, that we have that opportunity. So having a very specific coordinator for that faith practice is a priority for me. And so having that Islamic coordinator, praise God that we have Mr. Ahmed that devotes his time and his resources and his passion to the jail. And he just, I thank him so much for his faithfulness, for continuing to come back. And so to validate that position and say, okay, we recognize you and we know that you're an expert in your field and you're passionate about your faith. And so we want you to reach out to those that are of like faith in that jail community. And so what better person to do that than a coordinator? Our precedent is, yes, we have a full-time staff that are contractors, if you will, with the county, that take the ecumenical approach. They take the 35,000 foot view of the entire religious population. Then we have specific faith coordinators that come in and reach to their specific faith. For instance, the Archdiocese, we had a Catholic priest for nearly 40 years that was though he was part of the diocese, he housed an office in our jail. And he was eventually the coordinator for all the jails and prisons in Texas, but he chose to house himself in our jail. And he was funded through the archdiocese. And then we also have our rabbi that comes in the same way. The rabbi is funded by his faith community to do what he does in the jails and prisons. And so if we have someone that focuses on the Islamic faith and touches our Muslim inmates and provides services to them, make sure they have the resources that they have. That way, it's laser focused. There's nothing else and no other distractions but meeting their needs, and that's huge. And I think that is a big plus because of our limited funding at times. I know Jennifer will give me a big amen, but we really rely on our community partners to help us to accomplish our task. And so to be able to have another community partner come alongside of us and fund at a position, whether it's part-time, full-time, whatever the case may be, that's only a plus for us. It's a plus for the community because you have somebody inside the jail community that is going to be laser focused on the needs of those inmates.
Thank you so much, Dr. Don. That's a very clear message, and I hope it gets to the leaders within our community and our Muslim community as well, and we follow that example. Thank you again, Dr. Don. Next up, my question is for Imam Hamid Hardizi. Imam, what is your motivation for serving inmates weekly so religiously, and what do you love most about your visits? And if you want to share an experience that provides inspiration for the rest of us, please do. Inshallah. Over to you.
First, I apologize because I get a little nervous in front of people. So if I freeze, don't worry about it. Well, like I said at the beginning, the motivation first is because I was not doing anything, but Brother Ahmed, he introduced me to this, and it's been really a great thing in my life for these last 6 years, and a beautiful thing, and just to do something useful to help, that's my motivation, and do it for the sake of God, so that in the day of judgment, when I be asked why, at least I'll have a little answer to God Almighty that I did this a little bit. And there's a lot of stuff, a lot of benefits in this, a lot of therapy also. So yeah, right now just I'm a little nervous and I don't think too much. So
no, inshallah, I think this is clear. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. Next up, my question is for Sister Nimra. Sister Nimra, what motivated you to join serving the female inmates, and what do you love most about volunteering in Harris County jails? Again, share any experience that you may want to share, and maybe give inspiration to other ladies in our Muslim community to join you, inshallah.
Sure. All right. Assalamualaikum, everyone. My name is Nimra. I am one of the female coordinators, and then also I help run the pen and pal program and also work with the treasurer side on the S.M.A.R.T board reentry program. And there's a lot of misconceptions about millennials, which I'm a part of, the group I'm a part of, and that we're lazy. And I didn't want that to be one of the legacies I left behind. So I looked for, I moved to Houston about 3 years ago. So as soon as I came here, I wanted to get involved. I wanted to make a difference. And I wanted to do it in a way that other people in my age group or other Muslim women were not touching that. So, so I was at the River Oaks Islamic Center, saw a pamphlet for this Muslim mentor program, and that they were asking for chaplains. And I gave Brother Jazz an email, and here I am now 2 years later. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's been now exactly a year since I've stepped foot inside the Harris County Jail, and honestly, I miss it. I miss it so much. I miss going there every other weekend, talking with these sisters and getting to know them and getting to know what their stories are and how and honestly, they just want someone to talk to, first of all, and second of all, they're looking for a change. They don't want to end up where they are again. So they and some of those sisters, they either come in as a Muslim, or they are already a Muslim. They're already Muslim, or they've been a Muslim in the past and they want to reconnect, or they're just people that have heard about Islam. And one of my favorite stories is I like to tell people is that this one sister, she surprised me so much. So she is not Muslim, but her favorite rapper is Kevin Gates. And for those who don't know Kevin Gates, he has a song called A Prayer, and he's a very devout Muslim himself. He's very open about it. And he has a song called A Prayer, and in which he recites Surah Fatiha in Arabic. And she could recite that entire verse, even though she didn't know any Arabic. She could recite all Surah Fatiha better than I could because of that song. And he was her model and how she learned about Islam. So they find Islam in all sorts of walks of life. And once they come to jail, they have some time to think, and that's what they so. And as a resource, being there as a resource is definitely beneficial for them. And honestly, I've learned more from them than I have I get to like teach them. They have taught me so much about life, about the walks of life. I was very sheltered growing up in a very small town. So just opening up my eyes to the world. And honestly, I think this is the one volunteer position that I will continue doing for the rest of my life. It's definitely had an impact on me. Um, and there's and then there's also another point I wanted to make regarding the youth of the youth of today. So I also ran a campaign last year and did it again this past Ramadan on collecting funds for our Qurans that we give out to the chaplain inmates. So lately, because of COVID, we, along with Brother Hamid, he's been starting this effort. He packages the Qurans and sends them in. But of course, we need funds to buy the Qurans. And all I posted was one Quran equals $2, and then if you want to buy the Hispanic Quran, it's like another $2. And if you want to buy the Arabic one, costs us like $7. So that's all I posted. And literally anyone, I had all these high school kids, I had college kids who are broke college kids sending in funds. They're like, oh, okay, I can sponsor one Quran. And little did they know that each words that the inmate reads from those Quran is going to be such a impact on the person who's reading it, but also a source of reward for the person who donated that $2 or that $5 that they had. So there is a lot of potential in the youth to get them involved in this type of work. We just need to reach out to them in ways that they understand and how it relates to them. So thank you.
Beautiful thought, Sister Nimra. I really appreciate it. And I always remember Brother Ijaz telling me when I was going volunteering, and he always tells us that don't think that you are doing them a favor. You are actually doing yourself a favor. When we go out there, it's we who are learning, it's we who are growing as human beings. So I appreciate Sister Nimra for sharing that example. Over to Brother Amin. My question, Brother Amin, is what are the biggest challenges of prison dawah from your extensive experience? And how does your organization, Outside Link, address these challenges?
Yes, Bismillah. So with the name of God, Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. Again, this is Amin from Link Outside. So those of you who aren't familiar with Link Outside, although we're not based in Texas, we're based in Southern California, but we have a national model. So we serve individuals across different states through mail correspondence. So to answer the question, Brother Fawad, about what are the biggest challenges, I'll tell you what aren't the biggest challenges. One is finding facilities or prisons or jails that need volunteers. As you know, those of you who are doing the work, it's unfortunately one of the most neglected faith groups, right? We just don't, unfortunately, communally, we're not doing our part to serve our incarcerated brothers and sisters. The other thing that's not a problem is finding volunteers. MashaAllah, you go to a mosque or you go to an Islamic center or just a community event and you have people just, yeah, sign me up. I want to visit. So that's not the challenge. What is the challenge is actually taking those facilities, taking those volunteers and coming up with a program that could be done consistently and that's sustainable. Again, so, I'm looking at it like many facilities because we have ones that are local to us. We have some maybe an hour away, 2 hours away, 4 hours away. and we try our best, to try and service all of that. So one of the things that we found to be the solution to that is really you either have a combination of these two things, preferably both. One, you happen to have a lot of time on your hands, so you can actually sit down and focus on this. Unfortunately, I've seen, and I'm guilty of it myself, when it comes to faith-based volunteering or programming, we treat it like it's something we just do on the side. We don't put a lot of focus in on it. We don't really put a lot of thought into it. When it comes to our jobs, we will do it to a T. We'll show up to work early. We'll do all of the things that we ask, even extra things. But how come we don't have the same kind of mentality when it comes to this kind of work? And in fact, I would argue to say that this is even more important. So somebody that has the time is one thing. And then somebody too that perhaps could make it a regular part of what they're doing and make it professional. So you have the time and you have the know-how to actually create a system. That's what I found. Now, when I started when I joined Link Altai, I was a volunteer, and brothers were basically visiting a prison here and there. There wasn't really any structure. Now we praise God, and we hope that He rewards them for the amazing work that they did. So I don't want to put them down or anything. When it comes to structure, there wasn't really any structure there, and there wasn't an existing organization that I could model myself after. So really, when we started this and started growing, we didn't really have a blueprint to follow, and so there's a lot of challenges. We have these volunteers. Okay, I'm looking for facilities. 10 volunteers sign up. 2 of them show up on the first visit. The second visit, only 1 shows up on the third visit. I'm back to 0. So one of the things that we noticed that really plays a huge role in solving that problem is really dedicating somebody who can, at least at a minimum part-time, do this work, focus in on it just like a regular job, because it should be treated like that. So one of the advantages of working within a mosque, because we're actually sponsored by a local Islamic center here in Orange County in Southern California. So by the blessings of God, the generosity of our donors and our community, we were able to have enough funds to actually fund several part-time positions. So we noticed things change tremendously. So once we had that person, they're dedicated, they're putting in 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week, and they're doing a set task, coordinating prison visits, responding to letters, mailing out packages, etc. Then we started noticing things were moving a lot quicker and there was more consistency. So I would really stress that. Now, I know, obviously, as Brother Fawad, Brother Hamid talked about, our intention, we should be sincere. We do this for the sake of God alone. Yes, absolutely. That is the essential. But how do you take that and make it sustainable? You really need to give somebody the motivation and the incentive to actually do this on a regular basis. So I would really encourage individuals out there or organizations that are either doing this work or thinking about doing this work is to really think also about how can you make your program sustainable so that you're not just relying on a couple of volunteers, and if somebody decides not to go, then you're stuck. I would really push to think of financial ways of funding this program to make it long lasting, whether it's donations, whether it's some kind of social enterprise. But those are the things I believe really take your program to the next level, and you can see, God willing, a lot of change.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Brother Amin. Beautiful points, and I'm sure we will be in touch with you to learn more from your work, and our community can learn from you. Thank you so much. Sure. With this, I think we have a lot of questions coming in, and I want this to be a participative thing. I want to make sure that people's questions are answered. So, Sister Nimra, can you please read out the questions, if you don't mind?
Yes. All right. So the first question that came in was for either Jennifer or Dr. Don. And the question is Harris County planning any remote learning, mentoring, or volunteer chaplaincy efforts that this may be the new method to supplement volunteer visits? Is anything?
Who has asked the question?
I'm not sure who asked the question.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's fine. Okay. Jennifer, maybe you can say some words, and then Dr. Don can add to it.
Right now, because of COVID, the volunteer and intern efforts have stopped at the jail. because of safety, of course. But we are still working with our interns who are required to fulfill the requirements of whatever classes they're taking at the university to provide mentorship in the community. So we can act as a liaison for people who are exiting the jail and are needing assistance in navigating their continuum of care once they leave us. So it hasn't totally stopped. It's just shifted its focus for us in reentry. And I'll let Dr. Don speak on what chaplaincy is doing now.
And I'll tag onto that. It certainly shifted our strategies. For instance, our sister spoke of the Qurans and the donations. And so normally our volunteers would come in and they would help us pass out resources. We have 9,000 people housed in our facility. And so you can just imagine we go through about 1,000 requests a month on various different things. But we worked a strategy with our commissary department to deliver Qurans at no cost, that we're getting them at no cost, and they're just being the conduit for us to get them in the hands of the inmates as they can go on and order, and then they are delivered to them just as they would their other commissary items. And as far as volunteers, I am so looking forward to getting our volunteers back. Our heart hurts because it's not only it's about relationships and friendships that we've made over these years, and we feel like our family kind of is broken. I mean, we don't get to see the faces and the passion and the love that they bring into our facilities. But I will make note, another creative thing we're trying to do that I'd like to branch out on is if one of our someone we have housed has, for instance, a funeral. Before it was either a judge had to order the person to be released to go to their funeral, or they just sat in jail. Well, now because of technology, we are able to Zoom, and so we can make connections with the family, with the funeral home, to allow them to visit that service. And so, in my mind, why not take that a little step further? And if an imam wants to bring a message that we couldn't get a small group together and do something over Zoom, we need to kind of hammer out the details on what that would look like. But that's certainly something that I think we need to embrace technology that we have and make best use of it. The same with if we have an emergency situation or somebody just absolutely has to see somebody from the faith community, we're able to accommodate that and still keep a separation by going into our attorney booth. So we've had ministers come and deliver a death message or for whatever reason they needed to have a FaceTime. And so we're able to accommodate those. So I just wanted to put that out there for our faith leaders in the community that if there's something that you need us to make happen, we can certainly facilitate it. And because we're only limited by our creativity.
That's right.
Great, Dr. Don. Thank you. Yes, Sister Nimra.
Yes. So actually, that question was from C. Memphis made to you, and I just saw the name. So the next question that came in. So this question is from. I'm sorry if I butcher it. It's Yufka Yuger, and it's for Miss Jennifer Herring. And so the attendee states, we hear that half the people released from prison come back to prison. So what are the statistics about people being released from prison? Are there any supports like housing and finding jobs for those that are on the basis of federal and state in order to integrate them into society?
Sad to say that that number is probably about 80% instead of 50%. And that's what we call our recidivism rates. That's the rate of return. Now, what we do know is that people who are in programs in jails and in prisons don't fall under that rate. They do significantly better. So there is a lot of research. There is a lot of work being done to show that the interaction between people with professionals in the jail, rehabilitative programs, treatment programs, life skills, mentoring, mental health programs, do tremendous amounts in helping people not return to jail. But just as important is the continuum of care, the transition going from jail back into the community. So I think right now we're realizing that there needs to be programs in jails, that we need to start right there, where people are in crisis, where people are vulnerable, where people are receptive to getting help. Because they can't move. So we have a lot of requests for programs inside the jail. Where I see the gap is when they leave. This is where we need the momentum to be kept. This is where we need the mentors to step in to make to help them make some of the connections that are needed in moving back into society. There's a process that needs to happen. They've been institutionalized. They have been away from society. Things have changed depending on how long that they've been incarcerated. So there's some things that need to be learned. There's some things that need to be unlearned. What we try to do in reentry is to move them directly into another program. We never think that it's time for them to immediately go back into a situation that led them into jail in the first place. So if there is a substance use issue, it needs to be addressed. There also needs to be, and this is in our belief and from the work that we've done, there needs to be a new system that is created for them, and we call that a new system of support. We actually use the word family with our clients. We're now a part of your family, and we want to introduce you to people who are healthy and become a part of your new system of accountability. We need partners for accountability. Okay, are you going to your appointments? Are you seeing your sponsor? Have you completed your orders for probation, your bond conditions? They need this kind of guidance. They need this type of support. I think, and I'm gonna agree with Don that we miss the visual. People need one-on-one. They need someone to look at them. They need someone to talk. They need someone to listen to them. I love the computer, but there's nothing that beats one-on-one. For people who interact with you soul to soul. They need someone to meet them when they walk out of that jail. That's going to say, okay, I'm going to provide you transportation. We Uber a lot of people, so they leave the jail alone. They leave the jail alone. They're frightened. They're frightened. They don't know what their lives are going to look like now. They've got a lot of information. They're ready to go. They need people to help them continue the healthy environment that was created for them while they were in jail. I know that's weird to say, but we've got some fantastic programs, and a lot of you all know that, inside the jail that are motivating these people to walk out there to be better. So if we send you to treatment, we want somebody to pick you up from treatment. So there's a lot that can be done in navigating the release from jail. Yes.
Thank you, Jennifer. I have a couple of questions that came in regarding how to volunteer for a volunteer chaplain at Harris County Jail. One specifically is from Sister Najia Kirk Abdullah. She said she was a volunteer at the women's facility in Denton, and she had a great experience there. And so she was saying if we're offering any training for those who want to volunteer at this time, and that she's interested in being a volunteer. And then the other is from Brother Shahdi Hashem, who also has some experience about chaplaincy with the police department and also wants to join Muslim mentors. So to both of you guys, we welcome you. We need you. Please reach out to us. We will put our email to contact us in the chat box and also send it out post survey. If you guys are interested in volunteering, please fill out your information. We'll reach out to you. We are definitely in need of sisters and brothers for our work. Moving along, we have another question. This is for Dr. Dawn. The question states, it's sent in anonymously. It says, why don't they allow you to visit a chaplaincy? Sorry, the wording's a little off. Why don't they allow you to be a chaplain if you're a friend of the inmate? A friend of mine who was in jail, and I had resources for them, and they wanted me to try and help. When I contacted the chaplain, told them to organize it, I was trying to organize a team to come in, but I knew the inmate, he wouldn't allow me to. But he said this happened at not a Houston prison, but one outside the county.
Okay, just for reasons of accountability and transparency, and not everybody has the noblest of ideas when they want to interact with people, whether it's trafficking, illegal items into the jail or contraband, things of that nature. And so we hold that standard, but there's great avenues to overcome that. For instance, Brother Ahmed, I mean, if somebody has somebody that they want to connect with and they go through that coordinator and they can facilitate that, we can make that happen. It's just not going to be a one-on-one where, they hang up the sign and said, look, I'm a chaplain and I need to visit with this specific person who is from my neighborhood. Or even we do that with family members the same way. We're very specific about those rules, and mostly, again, for accountability and for security reasons and things of that nature. But it can be accomplished by coordinating that and collaborating with somebody who is in our system, who is a leader in our system, and they can make that happen.
Those are all the questions I have for now. Brother Fawad, do you have any additional questions on your end?
Yes, I do. And Brother Amin, this question is for you. How do we motivate our Muslim community to step forth, either volunteering or, again, donating for the Quran and the Islamic material? How do we do that? Can you give some advice on that?
Yeah. One of the things I believe people, have a disconnect when it comes to volunteering is that they don't feel like they can offer something. So the first thing that I would say is pretty much most people have something to offer, right? A lot of times they say, well, I can't volunteer with prison outreach work. I don't know Islamically or religiously a lot of information. What can I really offer them? Like, I'm just going to be sitting around. But the reality is that there's so much more than just the actual visit themselves. And I want to put a plug out there for a link outside. If you wanted to get involved, you don't have to be in California. You don't have to be in a facility, because a lot of the work that we do could be done virtually. So for example, we have a newsletter that we can send out on a quarterly basis. So if you have any ideas about articles, things you've read, you want to share a story, we can take that and then we can send it to 1,000 individuals, 1,000 incarcerated men and women across the country, because that's how large our list is. If you have information about multimedia, you want to be able to help with doing social media posts, videos. Those are the things that also to help. So first, I think recognize what your talents are, right? God has blessed all of us with a certain talent that we may be doing really well at, and use that for this type of program. Second, too, also realize that this work is really neglected and there's a dire need for it. So if you have some time and you feel like you can offer your help, really look for your local organization, whether it's Salaam Reentry or in your local hometown that is doing this work. And I'll tell you what, when I did my first visit, it is a little scary because you think of all the movies and TV shows that you've watched, and when the gate closes behind you and then you're entering into the facility, like, well, what did I get myself into? What's going on? But I'm here to tell you, if you've ever been on the fence about if I want to do this or not, really, I want to just dispel all of those myths and stereotypes it is completely different than what you've imagined. I'm sure the volunteers could speak to that. You would forget, no exaggeration, when you get there and you're talking with the brothers and sisters, you forget you're in a prison. Like you get caught in the conversations, and they're so inspiring, and they're telling you about all of the things that they're doing to help each other. You forget I thought I was in a mosque, or I was like, wait, I'm in a prison. But that's how amazing the lives of these men and women are. They will really inspire you. So I would say, if you're on the fence, really take the chance and get inspired. There's a lot of, we talked about the rewards, the spiritual blessings and benefits of doing this work. Yes, there's a ton of that. So I don't think I need to add to that. But really, you'll actually benefit, I believe, more than the brothers and sisters on the inside. When you hear their stories and you see how patient, how persistent they are despite all their hardships, you say, well, you know what? My hardships are nothing compared to that. And it gives you that motivation to do your work. Lastly, too, a lot of these organizations do need funds. So I would also motivate people. If you can't volunteer, you can't do the visits, you can use your financial blessings that God has given you to help do the work, so others can actually take your funds and make that happen. Salaam Reentry needs funds for books. You can send link outside. Donations too, I'll put my website on the chat. But that's other ways that you can do it. So really, I think everybody, regardless of what walk of life you're coming from, has something that they can offer this cause, inshallah.
That is great. Thank you so much, Brother Amin. And just, I want to talk a little bit about the Pen Pal program at Salaam. Sister Nimra, if you could just shed some light on that, and what are your needs for volunteers for that program once we come back from COVID?
Yeah, sure. So as I mentioned earlier, the Pen Pal program is something that we have implemented due to COVID-19 and our restriction about going into the actual facilities. So what Brother Hamid and I and Brother Jazz do is we get letters that are addressed to us for the Muslim Mentor Program, and Brother Hamid takes care of sending in the Qurans and the material that they request, but they also send in letters, and they just want someone to talk to. So the letters just, talk about what they're experiencing. They ask for, specific verses or stories. So I take some time to write out my responses, handwrite them out, and then send them back in. Of course, we do need volunteers if anyone has some extra time to type out or write out these letters for the inmates. Please do contact us. Again, in our email address is posted in the chat box, but they just need someone to converse with, honestly. They're stuck in somewhere where we all don't want to be, and they just need some form of communication with the outside world. And that little piece of paper, it brings a lot of hope to them. It might be mundane for us to write it out, but it's something that they truly value. And I've had some that even write back and forth. So again, if you're interested, please reach out to me, and we will get you connected with our Pen Pal program.
Thank you so much, Sister Nimra. Thank you so much. I think we have a few more minutes to go, and I have a couple of questions for Ms. Herring and for Don. So do we have time? We have a few minutes, right?
3 more minutes. For this
2 more minutes. Okay. So this one is for Ms. Herring. Ms. Herring, how does it benefit inmates to self-reflect during their incarceration? And how does a program like Muslim Mentor Program help with that introspection?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful question. Yes, how important is it to take a time out in your life? Wow, it is invaluable. And that's what we call it when we're talking to our clients. And we call them clients because we provide a service to them. So we tell them to use this time to focus on their spiritual issues, on forgiveness, on things that they've done to hurt themselves, things that they've done to hurt others. And we try to get them to focus on how to use this time as a benefit instead of looking at it as something that's carceral, that's punishment, but to turn around that perspective and to engage with others, to help see some light in whatever situation that they were in. The benefits of having volunteers like Muslim Mentorship to come in is to help them, guide them through that process, and teaching them how to pray and how to focus on issues that they need to work on, to explore those issues while they're there. It is time, and what we do with time is what matters. So we actually value that in our programs as very critical, to the point where we want to meet you when you come in, right when you come in, so we can have as much time as we can with you to help you in leaving better than you came in. That's our mission in Reentry, is to send you home better than you came. Well, the only way to do that is to sit down and to focus on self. In our daily lives of moving and children and working, we don't sit down enough. We don't stop and take a moment to reflect, to look over our days, and to work on things that we need to work on preventively before it becomes a disaster, before it becomes a crisis. So helping them in developing those skills, helping them learn how to sit down, how to reflect, how to be quiet, how to focus, how to pray, how to meditate. It's boundless, and the health factors that are associated with those type of practices. So you all are invaluable. There's no other word that I can use in coming in and working with our men and women. And like the sister said, to listen, to hear their stories. For them, that's processing. They're getting this stuff out that they've never gotten out. For us, we have them journal, so they have to write a lot during their quiet time. There are times in their day where they have to spend time alone, and then there are times where they have to spend time in groups, which is very critical to therapy and processing and support. It's a part of the healing process, and very beneficial from our clients that are gone. They said it was the best time that they've ever spent incarcerated. Sometimes we're very afraid to spend time with us. But when we do, and we experience our breakthroughs, and we expose the things that are keeping us bound, then we see that was what we actually needed in the first place. So we help to encourage that. We help to motivate them, and you all do as well. And we appreciate your support in that area.
I appreciate it, and I know we are running short on time. I just wanted to get Don's thought on that. Do you want to add anything, Don?
There's not much more to add. I certainly agree with what Jennifer said. That self-respect, or introspective look is just incredible. Just a quick story, and someone I know very closely was at a retreat in the woods. Part of it had been burned out, and part of it was very green. And he just looked and suddenly realized that burned out part was his life. And until after he started making those commitments, and then he realized the green life in front of him. He said before that moment of introspection, he drove right past that and just said, "Oh, look, there's a burned out forest." But it's those times where we sit still and be quiet, that we have those moments, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate all of my honored panelists, Ms. Jennifer Herring, Dr. Don Savell, Brother Amin Ishaker, Brother Hamid Hadizi, and Sister Nimra Riaz. I especially thank everybody who dialed in and who's still connected with our sessions. We have more sessions coming up. This is all for the first one, which is the Muslim Mentor panel.